kill Martha.
What does that mean? Why did you say that name?
Find him. Save Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Worst scene ever. I am Dceu with the Paparazzo, and in this video, I'll be going over why I believe Ben Affleck is the worst live-action Batman ever. My last video was about why Tom Holland is the worst live-action Spider-Man of all time. So if you're interested in watching that, I'll leave a link down below in the description. But now, it's DCEU Batman's turn. And he has this coming. Just like MCU Spider-Man did. But I do admit that this does hurt me to do. But it also hurts to see bad adaptations of Batman. Now, do I think there are entertaining moments with Ben Affleck's Batman? Yes, but there has to be more to a character than just having an entertaining fight scene. They need to be three-dimensional so that the audience can stay engaged with the character. Otherwise, they'll lose interest, which is why character traits, flaws, character development, and character arcs are important, and very well needed. Characters being consistent is also very important. Now, if these things are missing or messed up, then those can be used as actual criticism. When it comes to who's my favorite fictional character of all time, it's really hard for me to choose between Batman and Ben 10. I do like them both more than Spider-Man, but it's still really close. While I may not be able to decide who I like more between Batman and Ben 10, what I can say for certain is that Batman, Spider-Man, and Ben 10 are my top 3 favorite characters in all of fiction. Even so, I'll do what I must. Something that I want you all to know about this video. A lot of the things I say in this video were brought to me by other content creators, such as SK, League Entertainment, and Batnik. After hearing their points on how Batman was written in Batman v Superman, and thinking about it, I agreed with their points. The reason why I bring this up is because on my channel, I like to give credit where it's due. I don't want to give the impression that I'm plagiarizing other people's videos. Something that I want to try doing when using other people's points is either add to it or come up with my own points. Both League Entertainment and SK made a video on the whole Dawn of Justice movie. But this video is only going to be focusing on how Batman was characterized in that film. How he was written. If you want to watch videos going over the entire Dawn of Justice movie, you can watch 2 of them from SK and League Entertainment. I'll leave links to their videos down below in the description. Now, since it's going to be relevant to the topic, I want to talk about and give my take on comic book accuracy.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Now, when it comes to comic storylines not being comic book accurate, I don't have an issue with it as long as what they're doing in the adaptation works. And just because something isn't comic book accurate doesn't mean you would be able to use it as actual criticism. Especially when that storyline or things in it could have been bad. Like, for example, a moment that I think was bad in a comic book that should never be adapted into anything is when Hal Jordan had a relationship with a Green Lantern named Irisha, who he knew was 13 years old. Now, they may have changed her age in the comics now, but it doesn't change the fact how Hal Jordan originally had a relationship with a 13-year-old. Hal was a predator. And I don't mean this kind of predator.
Why would you at 30 think it would be okay to hang out with a 13-year-old girl home alone?
I mean, we just hit it off, friends.
You hit it off with a 13-year-old girl.
There are things that adaptations add that the comic didn't originally have. When Peter had the symbiote in the original storyline, the symbiote didn't corrupt him as we see in other versions of the storyline. The idea of the symbiote corrupting Peter originally came from the Spider-Man animated show from the 90s. And because of that, other storylines using the symbiote adapted that idea from the animated series. So if the 90s show and the other adaptation had stuck to comic book accuracy, we never would have gotten this change. Another change that might surprise people, that definitely surprised me, was the idea of Captain America being the very first Avenger. But in the original comics, he wasn't. Captain America was found by the original members of the Avengers, which consist of Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Ant-Man, and the Wasp. He didn't become an Avenger until after they found him in the ice. This was accurately adapted into the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes series. The only thing that I think needs to be comic book accurate are how the characters are characterized, and having the core elements into the adaptation. Like, I don't mind if an adaptation doesn't use a small trait of a character, just as long as they use their big ones. Now, if they want to do something different and change something that adds to their big trait, then I'm perfectly fine with that. If comic book accuracy makes you enjoy something even more, that's completely fine. However, just because something isn't comic book accurate doesn't mean it's bad. So I wouldn't use comic book accuracy as actual criticism, because it doesn't inherently make the storyline or characters bad. So that's my take on comic book accuracy. And this is where Ben Affleck Batman comes into play. The core elements for Ben Affleck's Batman were either missing or were lacking. I mean, this is also the case for other live-action Batman except for Robert Pattinson. Now, let's get into the first issue that I have with Ben Affleck's Batman. Starting with my biggest gripe with Ben Affleck's Batman is that he kills. One of Batman's core elements is his no-kill rule. In Dawn of Justice, he's just a murdering psychopath. He's the Punisher, or Grim Knight. The reason I would say why it's important for Batman to have his no-kill rule is because it gives his character more depth. Because of his no-kill rule, he can be a symbol of hope rather than a symbol of vengeance. He gives chances to criminals to rehabilitate, so that they can possibly be redeemed. Without his no-kill rule, he believes that he's no better than the criminals that he fights. He even goes as far as to say this to Jason Todd in Batman Under the Red Hood.
What, your moral code just won't allow for that? It's too hard to cross that line?
No! God almighty, no! It'd be too damned easy. All I've ever wanted to do is kill him. A day doesn't go by when I don't think about subjecting him to every horrendous torture he's dealt out to others, and then end him.
Aw, so you do think about me.
But if I do that, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back.
No, so if you don't agree with Batman's no-kill rule, or his viewpoint on killing, but you need to remember, this is what Batman believes himself. Batman, along with other characters' morals, won't align with yours. That's just how it is. I've heard people use the excuse that it's fine because Batman used to kill in the early comics. While that is true, it hasn't been canon for decades. What's more, is that back then, he was inconsistent with his kill rule. By the end of Joker's debut in the comics, Batman just hands him over to the police, instead of killing him. This was shortly before Batman had his no-kill rule. So if he's not against killing, it will make no sense for Batman to leave the Joker and other criminals alive. This is also the case for Ben Affleck's Batman. He's also inconsistent with his kill rule. Like, you're telling me that he's willing to kill lesser criminals? But not bigger criminals? Like the Joker, who even killed Dick Grayson in this universe? How is the Joker already not dead in this universe just for that?
She begged me with her last breath. Then when I killed you, and make no mistake, I will fucking kill you.
Right?
Why hasn't he killed Harley Quinn? Why did he even save her in Suicide Squad? For all we know, she could have helped Joker kill Dick Grayson. She does die in the future, however, we don't know exactly how she died, and from what was said, it's unlikely that Batman was the one that killed her. I've heard people try to use the defense, that Batman's complicated. But that doesn't work either, because things that make Batman complicated can be both logical and reasonable. Such as Batman having his own fears, but also using fear as a tactic against criminals. And as a result, he gets the information he needs from them. Using fear to scare criminals and get them talking is effective. And from someone who's strategic, this is logical. Despite having help from the Bat family often, If there's a situation that they're in that Batman deems too dangerous even for them to help with, he'll push them away to keep them out of it. It's reasonable for someone with his trauma to do this. Despite being in the Justice League and trusting the other members to a certain extent, he created contingency plans in case they ever were to be a threat. Whether they turn bad of their own free will, or they turn bad because someone's mind controlling them. It's reasonable to believe that a situation like this could happen, which it has. And it's logical to come up with plans to take down a bunch of beings with superpowers. Where's the reasonable or logical explanation for why the Joker is still alive in the DCEU? Being complicated and being inconsistent are two different things. My last issue with Batman's kill rule is that he put innocent people in danger. In the chase scene with the Batmobile, he uses the Batmobile to ram in this car that crashes into this trailer that could have had innocent people in it. This truck driver that was going the opposite direction of them could have gotten caught in the crossfire. You see another truck in the area that's clearly being driven by an innocent person not involved with this, getting caught up in a crossfire as his car crashes into it, most likely killing the driver. And then Batman proceeds to put even more people in danger as he ran through the wall of this building that could have had innocent people in it. The Protector of Gotham, my ass. What makes this even worse is that all of this destruction was completely unnecessary. Batman already had a tracking device on the truck that he almost ended up destroying. Was to chase a cool action scene? Yes, but Batman's not going to put innocent people in danger because of a cool action scene. He faced no repercussions for this. Now moving on to my next issue, he's a bad detective and strategist. Now unfortunately, it's pretty common that in a lot of live-action Batman movies, they don't do much detective work, with the exception of Robert Pattinson's Batman. But not once has Batman stopped to wonder why Lex Luthor had kryptonite to begin with. He knows that Lex Luthor is paying Kronos, and yet he does nothing about it. He just allows himself to be manipulated by Lex Luthor. As for him being a bad strategist, let's look into his fight with Superman. As for the first problem, so we know that Batman has kryptonite in this fight with Superman, and that he's going for the kill. He wants to kill Superman still at this point in the movie. But Superman doesn't want to kill Batman and instead wants his help to save his mother. Which is fine, but here's the problem. So Batman uses these gun turrets that shoot out regular bullets rather than kryptonite bullets. Why would Batman bother with regular bullets rather than kryptonite ones, when he knows kryptonite is effective against Superman? Which can't kill him, which is what Batman is trying to go for. So why wouldn't Batman use kryptonite bullets instead? And I can't believe I'm about to say this for Superman of all people, but Superman has plot armor here. At this point in the movie, Superman still didn't know what kryptonite was, or that it could even hurt him. So Superman would just believe that these are regular bullets that wouldn't hurt him, which is why he wouldn't bother to dodge them. He definitely would have died here if Batman had used kryptonite bullets rather than regular bullets. Batman is a complete moron for not doing this. A little later into the fight, Batman is finally able to weaken Superman as he's able to use the kryptonite on him. Batman then proceeds to put a beating on Superman since he's weakened. And here's the second issue with this fight. Batman just proceeds to try to beat the crap out of him rather than do something as simple as snap his neck, which would immediately kill him. And what is preventing Batman from doing this? Once again, Superman has plot armor here. Even after Batman exposes him the kryptonite again after Superman recovers from the first batch, he just proceeds to waste time as he takes the sink and hits Superman with it, rather than do something more effective and just snap his neck. Like seriously, why is Batman doing this? Why is he just wasting time? He even says himself earlier in the movie that if there's even a 1% chance that Superman is a threat, then he needs to take action. He needs to get rid of him. His neck, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna snap it? What? No, I guess not. So you're just gonna carry him over your shoulder and just throw him down. Whenever Batman had the upper hand in the fight, he did nothing but just waste time. He acts like an arrogant supervillain rather than a master strategist. Overconfidence and arrogance are Lex Luthor and Dr. Doom traits, not Batman traits. Now, I'm not saying that a strategist can't be overconfident and arrogant. I'm saying that Batman wouldn't do these things. If he's trying to go for the kill, then he wouldn't waste his time. He would do it. especially if you view Superman as the biggest threat to the planet. Now, my last issue with this fight is that Batman has his spear in this building the entire time. This was a terrible move on Batman's part, because Superman could have taken the fight literally anywhere. He could have thrown him towards any other building. Strategic fucking genius. And now we go into my final issue with Ben Affleck's Batman. It's the fact that his character development in this movie made absolutely no sense. Are character development and character arcs important and needed to have? Yes. But in order for someone to go through those things, they need to make sense. Batman's viewpoints on Superman shouldn't be changed just because their moms have the same name. That doesn't prove that Batman was wrong about Superman. If news reports displaying Superman doing good things doesn't convince Batman that Superman is a good guy, then why would the fact that their moms have the same name would? Just because your mom's name is Martha doesn't mean you're actually a good guy. Is Batman going to change his viewpoints or stop chasing the criminal just because they know someone named Martha? Like, what does that even prove? Batman's viewpoints being changed makes more sense and is better in the Batman. Because he viewed himself as vengeance, this inspired Riddler to view himself as vengeance as well. Which is why Riddler did everything he did in the Batman. This mistake is what made this Batman change his viewpoints. Rather than being a symbol of vengeance, he needed to be a symbol of hope, so that others could be inspired to have hope. Having hope is much better than being consumed by vengeance. He needed to change his viewpoints so that other criminals wouldn't do what Riddler did or try to do worse. This is better and makes much more sense than changing your viewpoints just because someone says Martha. And that about brings this video to an end. What do you think of the points in this video, and what do you think of DCEU Batman? Leave your thoughts or any other thoughts you have down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you're new to my channel, feel free to check out my other videos, shorts, posts, and subscribe if you haven't already.